ContemporaryAthon. So that is going to fulfill a different... I swear every category is not going to have like 17 different choices for books. Hi everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be my quasi-TBR for ContemporaryAthon / a bunch of recommendations if you are looking for books, inspiration, ideas of what you want to read. As I was pulling stuff off my shelf, I started to realize how many books I have talked about in other readathons that I never actually read. So some of these books are probably going to be super familiar to you guys because they are books that I totally want to read and just haven't gotten to yet for some reason or another. And some of them maybe will be new. I don't know, we'll find out. But ContemporaryAthon takes place from the 23rd to the 29th. Awful, checking my notes. And this is, I want to say, round 5. And ContemporaryAthon is hosted by Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, Julie from Pages and Pens, Natasha from My Reading is Odd, and Mel from Mel to the Any. So I will have all of their channels down below. There are like a Twitter account to follow. There's going to be challenges. They do all sorts of fun things. Every one of the hosts have videos up, so definitely check out all of their good stuff. And let's just get into all the challenges and some books to read. The first challenge is to read a 2019 release, and so many to choose from. But I went through my iPad also, so two of the ones I picked from there are An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. And this came out all the way back in January, and this is about a girl in college who participates in one of those like scientific psychological studies for money, as college kids known to do. I did one of those psych experiments when I was in school, although not this one. And it focuses on her and then I think the psychologist who is conducting the survey study, and something strange happens with them. So I loved A Wife Between Us. I'm getting these authors right this time around, so I'm super interested in this one. And then the second one off my iPad is The Au Pair by Emma Ruse. This, I want to say, also maybe came out in January. I don't know why my voice got so high, but I am fresh off reading The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This is another nanny-ish type of story. So in this one, I believe it's a twin brother and sister. The day they were born, their mom died, and I believe she like flung herself off a cliff or something, and their au pair fled town. And then we fast forward, I don't know, maybe like 25 years later or something, and the brother and sister's father has passed away, so they like go back to the house to like deal with everything. And then I believe they wind up finding a photograph which is supposed to be from the day they were born, but there's like only one baby, I think. So like, where's the other one? Or maybe there's like 3 babies, so where's the other one? But apparently like the au pair has maybe the key to whatever this mysterious secret is. So some sort of like mystery thriller type of thing going on there. Then for physical books, I have pulled Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center off my bookshelf. This is absolutely a book that I want to read. I just haven't gotten to it for no good reason at all. It is about a woman who's a firefighter. Her name's Cassie. I want to say she starts in Texas. She winds up going back to Massachusetts outside Boston to help her mom. And then it's about like, I think, family things as well as things that happen when she, joins a new firehouse in Boston, and female firefighters are not as common and I think are subjected to sort of some hazing and some sexism and probably some other really crappy things. But it says it's a story of strength and of learning to love against all odds. So definitely one I want to read, and this is one that was sent to me, so I definitely need to get to this one. And then the other one I picked for 2019, and yes, I picked 4 because I don't know what mood I'm in, but I think this is the one I'm actually going to go for, and it's Allison Galen's Never Look Back. And I had intended to read this during Thriller-a-thon. I just didn't get to it because I ran out of time. This is a book that I got at Thriller Fest. I'm a big fan of Allison Galen. This is multiple timelines. This is multiple point of views. It is a teenage boy and girl who in the 70s, I think, are accused of murder. Yes, killing a dozen victims before perishing in a fire, or did they? And then in present day, you have a podcaster who is the son of someone who was, I believe he was the son of one of the murder victims, who is looking into this and looking for some closure. And he sort of connects with this girl and believes that her mother maybe is the original killer who maybe did not perish in that fire. So lots of questions. Big fan of Allison Galen. So yes, challenge number 1, 4 options. The second challenge is to read a book with yellow on the cover. And this is another one where I have a lot of options. The first one, sticking in the ebook land, is called Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this is the second book in the series, The Naturals. And I just read The Naturals a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. And this was actually a recommendation by Mara at Books Like Whoa. And it's a YA, kind of like Criminal Minds is how it's pitched. Now, mind you, I've never watched Criminal Minds, but I kind of know a little bit of the essence of it. But I don't know for sure if it's like kind of true to Criminal Minds, because I'm not a fan of that show. But it is 5 teens, kind of like 16, 17, 18 years old, I want to say they are between them, who have this natural talent for either like reading people or reading emotions or profiling people, and the FBI recruits them to help solve cold cases. So I finished book number 1. I really enjoyed it. It was well written. It was quick. It wasn't like the most intricate mystery I've ever read in my life, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I want to say there's 5 books in the series, and I will continue with it. So that is one of my options. The next one I have is Down a Dark Hall by Lois Duncan. And I had talked about this all the way back in, I think, my original video, and probably some others since. Lois Duncan was one of the first mystery writers I read when I was a teen, and I loved her books. This is not one that I have actually read, and this was part of a book outlet haul probably back in like November or something like that. And it's like a YA mystery. I'll be honest, one of the reasons I picked it is because it's under 300 pages, and who doesn't like that during a readathon? But it's about a girl at a boarding school, and it says here, the dead are dying to live again. So it's like a haunted boarding school. Kit Gordy is our main character, and she just wants to settle into a routine and ignore all these ghosts and stuff. But I'm gonna guess you can't ignore these ghosts because they're gonna wanna come out and play. So that's an option. And then another option is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. And this is a book that Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads has recommended and talked about a lot on her channel. And this is definitely, this is kind of like dark, hard-hitting contemporary YA. And this girl, Alex, it says, the first line on the back of the book is, Alex Kraft knows how to kill someone, and she doesn't feel bad about it. So her older sister was murdered a few years earlier. The killer was set free, and it sort of kind of unleashed something in Alex. And whether she's trying to get revenge on that person or for her sister or what, I'm not 100% sure. But I know that there's super strong feminism in this book. It says it's an unflinching look at rape culture and its repercussions, astoundingly dark, beautifully written tragedy. This is definitely going to be a heavy one. This is one that has been on my shelf for a couple of months, I would say, and one I've not always, but I've wanted to get into. So this might be my yellow possibility this time round. And then if you guys are looking for a yellow book, but none of these are appealing to you, I always will recommend The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This is the first book I read by him. Loved it. It remains my favorite Peter Swanson book of the 3 that I've read so far. And this is strangers on a plane. Man and woman are flying back to Boston from London. They meet at the airport. Their plane is delayed. They have some cocktails. And the guy basically says, you know, my wife's having an affair and I want to kill her. And the woman says, let me help you do that. And this is how the book opens. So fun ride, dark characters, unlikable characters, people doing very messed up things, but I 100% enjoyed this book. Challenge number 3 is to read a diverse contemporary, and what they are using as the guidelines for this is anything that's outside of your normal experience, whether it is gender, race, religion, sexuality, however you define diverse. Read a book that's diverse to your experience. And for this one, I am going to read, I'm looking down because I just got it on the ebook off from the library, is Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. And this is a book that Kayla from Books and Lala, I want to say it's her most favorite book ever. She talks about it constantly, she recommends it constantly, and I have been looking to get it, but couldn't find it at the library, and I don't know if it just like magically popped up. I feel like it's not a full moon because it's the middle of Sunday afternoon, but I feel like it's a full moon because the stars are looking down on me. And this is a story about a girl named Billy McCaffrey, and I'm just going to read from it because it will do a better job than I will. But she lives in a small town, hence the title, and it is a YA book. She's a tomboy daughter of the town's preacher and has always struggled with fitting in. So what this says is, it's about understanding love on her terms, this thing that has always been defined as a boy and a girl falling in love and living happily ever after. For Billy, a box-defining dynamo, it's not that simple. Readers will be drawn to Billy as she comes to terms with the gray areas of love, gender, and friendship in this John Hughes-esque exploration of sexual fluidity. So I 100% trust Kayla's recommendations. I love John Hughes. I'm getting more and more into YA. I feel like I talked quite a big game earlier on in my channel, and being on BookTube has certainly opened my eyes to a lot of books, especially YA books that I normally would not have picked up. So I'm very interested in reading this one, and I'm super excited that I got it from the library. The next challenge is to read a book with an illustrated cover, and the hosts of this, we're talking about kind of all of these contemporary romance books, which kind of those illustrated covers are like the rage, it seems. Like the Kiss Quotient, The Bride Test, Fix Her Up, I want to say like Red, White, and Royal Blue, like kind of like all of these books that have come out. And no disrespect to any of those books, I did listen to the Kiss Quotient, but it's just not my thing. Like I'm not like a big romance reader. I prefer some darkness to a lot of my books, but I do like a contemporary. So what I am going to read is my plan. If you guys have been following me, I created this 2019 reread list of kind of 13 books off my shelf that I have had on my shelf for years and years and look back on fondly, even though I haven't read a lot of them in a long time. So I made a goal to myself to read these books again and see if they still hold a place in my heart or if they're literally just sort of like holding real estate on my shelf. So for this one, I picked The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger. I feel like nobody needs an explanation of what this book is, but I have not read this book in a really, really long time. So I, as you can tell by the old Barnes & Noble sticker, I bought this like right when it came out. I read it a bunch of times kind of early on and like when the movie first came out. And also if you follow me, you know I'm a big book rereader, and if you don't, I like to read books. So this is about Andy working for Miranda Priestley. It's basically Anna Wintour and Vogue, and that's, you know, Lauren Weisberger was her assistant at one stage. So this is just a completely fun book to me, and I am super curious to see if I still have the same affection for it all these years later. Challenge number 5 is to read a dark or hard-hitting contemporary. And I want to say it was Chelsea in her video who was also like, this could either be, you know, dark subject matter, in which case like Female of the Species would 100% work for me, or it could be like a thriller or some sort of, you know, dark in that sense. And I am picking, hopefully, going to finally get to this book, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. So like Groundhog Day. How many times can I hold up this book and tell you guys that I'm going to read it? I swear I'm going to read it. I'm actually going to read it before the year is out. Maybe during this readathon. So this is one of my options for dark and hard hitting. And then also Allison Galen, because it's a thriller, also fits the dark, hard hitting category. But basically another one, gotta go out of frame. And I'm back. Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane is another one that is newly on my list. This came from Leanne at Literary Diversions, is the first person I heard talking about it, and have since heard a lot of people talking about it. A woman comes home one day, the police are there, and she finds out that her husband's a serial killer. Who knew? And then she like packs up the kiddos and leaves town, and maybe it's like a year or so later, her husband's in jail, but I want to say like a body shows up like on her front lawn or in her town, murdered in the same MO as her serial killer husband. So we've got some darkness there. So here's another dark possibility for me. The next challenge is to read a book with plants on the cover, and they define plants as flowers, trees, ficus trees, any kind of plant you want. So I have a few different options for this one, but the first one is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this is, I think, the second to last of her books that I have, and I've been savoring this one a little bit because this is one of those sliding doors types of stories where if Hannah chooses, basically Hannah's out at a bar with her best friend and runs into her ex-boyfriend Ethan, and if she goes home with Ethan, one story happens, and if she goes home with her friend Gabby, another story happens, and we get to see both paths. So it becomes one of these things like, is your life fated? You know, how your decisions affect the outcome of your life. I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid to bits, as you guys know. I love her writing. So excited for this book. And in case you were wondering, I don't know why, I feel like it looks cut off on here. There's palm trees in the pictures that she's looking at in the museum. I feel like on the audiobook on Hoopla, the palm trees are more prominent, but palm trees. Another one, these are two that I think keep talking about that I'm going to read, and I just haven't, which is why they're on my TBR. So Are You Sleeping by Kathleen Barber. This was a completely random book outlet purchase, as was the next one. It is a mystery. The only thing more dangerous than a lie is the truth. So this girl Josie has been trying to escape her family's reputation, her father's murder. 13 years prior, her mom ran away to join a cult. Her twin sister betrayed her. Now Josie has sort of like, she's married, she's put down roots. She's kind of like shaken off the skin of her past, but it's coming back to haunt her, and everyone finds out who she is, including her husband. So her past is back to get her, basically. Demons from the past. Taut thriller. Who knows? Flowers, plants, such on the cover. And then, can you guys figure out that I ate like 97 of those chocolate cover espresso beans that I talked about in my other vlog? Just so hopped up. And I'm drinking this super great. Let's just sidebar. This tea, because in my book it is fall, even though it's back to 80 degrees outside. This is the Harney & Sons Hot Cinnamon Spice Tea, which is the most delicious thing I've ever had in my entire life. It is like cinnamon and clove and I'm not sure what else kind of spice. I couldn't give a hoot about that pumpkin spice drink that people get obsessed about, but this hot cinnamon spice tea is to die. Anyway, last book, Before We Met by Lucy Whitehouse. And this is husband and wife. Husband goes on a business trip, doesn't come back, and he basically is not who she thought. He is not who she thought he was. And he's getting calls from some mysterious woman, and people that he works with don't even know that he was going on this business trip. And I want to say that either like their bank account is like cleared out, or magically like money shows up in the bank account. It's empty. Her bank account is empty. So it's uncovering secrets, throwing everything into doubt. Can you ever really know what happened before you met? It's also a short book, which is one of the reasons why I picked it. And there is a shattered rose on the cover because clearly that relationship has been shattered. The last challenge is to read a book that is beloved by the BookTube community and to do a shout out to the creator who turned you onto that book in the first place. So for me, like I said, Female of the Species, which was a recommendation by Chelsea, which is just a coincidence that she's one of the hosts, I swear. I have Stillhouse Lake Leanne from Literary Diversions is the first place I heard this, like I said, but I've heard it from lots of other booktubers. Small Towns. You guys, I'm such a freaking mess today. The Lala book, Dress Codes for Small Towns, is a book that is Kayla's favorite. The Natural series, like I said, Mara from Books Like Whoa. I feel like there's just so many books that I could pick for that, but I'm going to double down for sure on that one. If you're looking for other recommendations, feel free to use me as your person. I already talked about The Kind Worth Killing, which I still highly super recommend. I just finished The Testaments, which I hugely recommend, although I don't know if that counts as contemporary or not. But if it does, that's a good one. Beartown by Frederick Bachman is a great one, also hard-hitting. Isn't that awful that you can't think about books when you're sitting here trying to talk about books? Silent Patient was great. That also came out this year, so that'll get you 2 for that one. Goodness me. How can I not think of like my most favorite books ever? I feel like anything by Marian Keyes, you guys can't go wrong with. Dang. Another great one is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, and it also has flowers on it, so that can double down. And this is so dark, like supremely dark. So that would fill multiple category challenges for you. I would say most Emily Giffen books, if you're looking for something a little bit lighter, and a lot of those have illustrations, or at least her original ones had illustrations on the cover, so something borrowed, something blue. Baby Proof. Baby Proof is also yellow, so that'll get you a couple, a yellow cover, get you a couple different challenges there. Just so many. So many. So that's going to do it for my ContemporaryAthon TBR/recommendations Insanity Train. But let me know if you guys are participating in the readathon, what you're reading, if you're reading anything that I mentioned, or if you have read any of the books that I mentioned and what you think of them. And we will all sort of like recap it when we're done and see how it goes. So I don't know if I'm actually going to try and vlog this readathon. It's definitely trickier with work. My time is super limited during the work week, and I really don't know how interesting a vlog is if it's just kind of me giving updates on books from home rather than out in the universe. But time will tell. I'm just gonna kind of like wing that and see how I'm feeling. But thank you guys for watching today, for subscribing, for engaging, for supporting my channel, for being just so lovely and wonderful. And I will see all of you guys really soon. Bye everybody.